here are 5 stupid things I've noticed about the right to bear arms. In the US, it's vague and archaic. Americans have been arguing over how to interpret our right to bear arms, inscribed in our Constitution as the Second Amendment, since pretty much forever. Can we all have as many guns as we want? Or only if we're members of a well-regulated militia? Can the government ban private ownership of certain types of guns as long as it maintains the general right to bear arms? Opinions vary. There's also the fact that our Second Amendment was ratified before automatic and semi-automatic firearms even existed. If the Founding Fathers knew they were granting future generations the right to own weapons that could kill a room full of people in a matter of seconds, they might have chosen their words a bit more carefully. It paralyzes debate over gun policy. One of the most irritating things about how we handle the right to bear arms here in the US is the way the pro-gun folks know that they'll always have the Second Amendment to fall back on, even if all their other arguments are full of shit. And they are. They can always say, yeah, well, it's my right. The Second Amendment says I'm entitled to own a gun. And, broadly speaking at least, they're right. Which kind of bites, especially if you're a person who would like to see something done about, our horrifying gun violence problem. Its loudest defenders are terrible people. I'm not saying all gun owners are terrible people. I'm saying the leaders of the American pro-gun lobby, the Wayne LaPierres and Larry Pratts, are terrible people. All of them work every day to make the United States a more violent, irresponsible, and paranoid country. Rabidly pro-gun celebrities tend to be assholes too. Guys like Ted Nugent, Chuck Norris, and Dean Cain, who played Superman on TV for 4 years, crushing guns in his hand and yet somehow missing the guns are dangerous bit. Of course, not everyone believes that guns are dangerous, at least not so dangerous that they need to be strictly regulated. Some people view gun ownership as the highest expression of their liberty. Most people that I know of who fetishize gun ownership in this way are Americans, because other countries handle it far more sensibly. There are countries with equivalents to our Second Amendment who still manage to have far more reasonable and effective gun policies than we have in the United States. Take, for example, Mexico. Yeah, Mexico's constitution guarantees its private citizens the right to own guns, but it also explicitly empowers its federal government to regulate gun ownership and to decide when and where people are allowed to have guns. And by the way, Mexico's rate of total gun deaths is less than half what it is in the United States. Or for another example, take Switzerland, where gun ownership is extremely common, but it's illegal to carry a loaded gun in public without a permit. And you can only get a permit if you can show a good reason why you should be allowed to carry a loaded gun around in public. Switzerland's rate of total gun deaths is less than 1/3 that of the United States. And those are just 2 examples of countries that have a legally guaranteed right to bear arms. Some countries do just fine without it. For instance, the UK. No legally guaranteed right to bear arms. Private gun ownership is relatively rare. The UK's rate of gun deaths is 1/50th that of the US. And the UK, incredibly, is not a dictatorship. It is not plagued by violent crime. Its homicide rate is significantly lower than ours too, by the way. The lack of good guys with guns has not allowed the bad guys with guns to take over, because the bad guys don't have guns either, thanks to their country pursuing a sane fucking gun policy. It is possible to have a free, democratic, peaceful society that doesn't treat gun ownership like a fundamental human right, because of course it is. Which we Americans would know from firsthand experience if only enough of us had sense enough to try it. The hardest part is only picking 5. Catch you next time.